bilateral distance meter from Inkerma. And they provided this to me to demonstrate, and I'm going to do that. So what are some of the features? It's color screen, it's chargeable, it's bilateral. That means you can hold it in the middle of a room. It'll go both ways and measure that way. It also has digital angles. It's useful. Single measuring, straight line, area measuring, square, rectangle, triangle, whatever. Pythagorean method. Okay, I may have just lost some of you that didn't have algebra or geometry. Pythagorean theorem, a squared on a right triangle. A squared plus b squared equals c squared, which is hypotenuse. Okay, may have lost some of you. We don't need to get into all the deep math, but this will calculate that. Real-time measuring, data recording, changeable screen orientation, sort of like with your phone. You can have it like this, or you can have it like this. I haven't opened this yet. And font enlargement for those with questionable eyesight. Happens when you get old. So let's get this popped open here. Maybe. So you get the unit itself. Get a nice little case there, put on your belt. Little Velcro closure. It even has a lanyard. You can put the lanyard on the meter here somewhere, I'm sure. Well, I'll figure that out. Yep, right there, little place for it. And you have an instruction book. Something else in here. Hopefully it's a charging cable. It is USB-C. So I need to charge this up, and then we're going to play with it to find out how far it is from hither to yon. Okay, while that's charging up, I'll go over some of the technical data. Everybody needs to know that. One of the questions is, what's the range? How far can you measure? Can you measure like from here to down the block? No. Maximum range is 262 feet. That's 80 meters. And the minimum is 0.16 foot or 0.05 meter. Measurement accuracy, plus or minus 1/8 inch or plus minus 2 millimeters. Because 2 millimeters is pretty much of 1/8 of an inch. Yeah. Those are your metrically challenged. Okay, the laser shuts off automatically after 30 seconds and a complete shutdown of the instrument after 180 seconds. Unit of distance in meters, feet, or inches. Unit in area of square meters, square feet, or square inches. Unit of volume is a cube of meters, feet, or inches, and I just lost some of the people that aren't real good at math. Cube is measuring the volume of an item, and you take one side times the other side times the height. That gives you the volume. That's a cube. Laser type is 620 to 690 nanometers, less than 1 milliwatt. Laser class 2. Working temperature 32 to 104 Fahrenheit, 0 to 40 C. And they give you humidity and all that. Number of measurements greater than 3,000. That's per battery charge. Weight without battery, 0.2 pounds. I don't know why they say without battery, because the battery is built into it. So, yeah. So that's little specs on it here. We'll get this thing charged up, get a charge in it, and do a little playing with it here. Yeah, I got a charge of about 50%. It didn't take very long. I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. It was up to 50%. So there's a little port on the side here with a little kind of waterproofy thing. I don't know that this is submersible, so don't try to measure at the bottom of the lake, but it would keep rain and dust and dirt and stuff out. You just push that back in. There's a little plastic thing you have to pull off of here. The manual here is very concise. I've kind of brushed through it pretty quick, but I've used these types of things before. This is not something brand new to the market. There's been distance meters around for quite a while. This is the first one I've had that's what they call bilateral, which means you can hold it in the middle of a room, like right here, and you get a laser from both ends. Turn it on, button on the front. And I will need to look and see how I can change from meters to feet. The button right here in the front that says units. That's where you can change from meters to inches to feet. So let's change this to feet. I'm at feet. And I know this is going to be kind of hard to show here. There's also a button here for the bilateral measurement. So we can measure the width of this room by pushing that button. And I will need to select on the screen here which I want, which is this one right here. And if we click on measure, get my laser, puts out red dots. So you can measure between, make sure I get a clear wall on both ends here. Measurement again is 13 feet, 0.733 inches. That'll also work in single. So right now here's bilateral. I want to go to single. I need to move up to the next icon, I guess you would call it. You can also switch the direction of the screen by this little button right here. So right now it's in horizontal. If I push it once, it'll change it to vertical. Oh, dang, fries are done. So one of my printers is done printing. So we'll set this for that single measurement. Choose, once you're on this screen here, to choose between the different types of, or modes or types of measurements you want to make. Push the little plus here where it says units, and it'll change that. So now we're set for single, and I can set this on the table here and measure how far it is to the ceiling. Okay, and then I hit measurement again. Another neat little feature here is I've got it in a bilateral right now, and as I move this up and down, my display changes according to how far it is from here to here and how far it is up to the ceiling. And it beeps every time it changes. So it updates pretty good. Also has a function where you can measure a square. For example, if you were measuring a room, the picture will come up, and this is impossible to show because the screen's so small, but the icon will come up and it will show you that a square or a rectangle or whatever you want to do. And I took the measurement for the first side, so now I'm going to take the measurement for the second side, and then I did the third side. So we have a square that is 3.6 by 2.9 feet, because I'm just playing off here on the table. It will also do a cube shape. Hopefully you can see that up here at the top. And you also have your different types of triangles. You can measure the different sides of a triangle in case you don't want to use Pythagorean theorem to figure out your hypotenuse or either one of your chords. So you can figure it out that way too, and you can also find angles that way. Now this does have an angle function. You have to kind of calibrate it by setting it on a perfectly flat surface. And mine is not perfectly flat because I did this on my table saw, which I know is flat. Cool. Then as you move this at different angles, so if I turn it up like this, it should say 90, and actually it does. It says perfect right on 90. So if you wanted to find, for example, 45, there's a 45. So this would be handy if you needed to know an angle of something you were working on. For example, let's say you had a roof. We're going to pretend this is a roof, and it's pitched about like this. You want to know the angle. You would lay this on it after you made sure it was zeroed. That's a 30-degree angle right there. So that'd be handy. It would also could be used on a table saw when you're setting your blade angles. Oh, it's 5.948 feet from right here up to the ceiling. No, we don't have real high ceilings in here. I would say that would be pretty accurate. I have tape measures. I don't have a tape measure handy, but I know that's going to be pretty darn close. So as you can see, it's be a pretty handy little tool. It does come with a very concise instruction book here, and it has a fold out here to kind of show you the quick methods for some of these different measurements. I'm not going to get into geometry and trigonometry here because I'll lose some people, but this does have all those functions, and will measure your sines and sine of alpha, sine beta, Pythagorean theorem. It'll measure your chords, angles. You can find that kind of stuff. It also measures distance in feet and inches or in meters. So all you need to do is kind of read the book and follow along with the steps. Even without this, this is somewhat self-explanatory if you've ever used one of these distance meters before. So I like this. Again, it's not for measuring miles or anything. You're limited to 260 and change feet, but that's plenty for what I would use it for. So if you got anything out of this, appreciate getting a thumbs up. Always helps the channel. There'll be a link in the description of where you can get one of these. You can get them on Amazon. They're not horribly expensive. Very handy tool. A lot of features to it. Thanks for watching. Roger in the loft above the shop. See you in the next one.